Greetings and welcome back, y'all. So it has been a while since I have shown this village, and I put it in here as the episode that is next, and you can see that it's not done yet, but I wanted to show you where I'm at with it. And I'm also retiring one of my old saves, and I had mentioned how I wanted to show you all this old save of mine and say, here's where I used to be and here's what I had previously. And what I'm going to do here now is I want to take you through what I've done so far in this village, and I want to show you what I've been working on, and then we'll come back to this place again, of course, in the future. So the goal with this part is to feel like a castle, and there's our son. He's getting older, man. Look at that. Oh, now he's busy. He's about to go to bed. Now, let's see here. I probably should harden this. Actually, tell you what. It's going to be a little dark for a moment. I want it to be a little dark. You'll notice that there needs to be a wrap-up of those walls. So part of it is I haven't gotten all the logs down. And keep in mind the hundreds of logs. Now, what I'm really loving right now, these things, like I love the fact that I almost have like rampart feelings going on here, right? Like this feels like an outer wall, inner wall. I have my arrow buckets, as you might have seen in my other video, my little fast video, which I'm going to practice getting shorts out there. And look at this. A great view of our kingdom, right? The kingdom of Keen, right? And then this is our house now. Moved our family into this one because I just love the view, right? Like that was the whole point of it. And I'm going to take you on the side road here. It is the tallest hill, of course, in this particular part of it, aside in the... No, okay, that's not the tallest hill then. What a crazy guy. There we go, and then there's that. Oh, I didn't get those logs done. This gate, by the way, I need to fix that, so don't look at that too closely. That's not done yet. But again, another one of these gates. And then that away is the direction of our tavern I'll show you shortly. And then here's our lookout, so we can guard all of the different regions. A guardhouse, literal guardhouse, right? And I need to decorate in this thing too. This will be where the guards of this particular watch rest. And then another set of guard ramparts, or... not towers. I was going to use the windmills, right? Because people use the windmills as a way to make a guard tower, and I love it. It's really a creative way to do things. I'm not at the point where I'm going to throw down the spears that they do and make the crisscrosses, because that's really great attention to detail, and I'm just not there yet. Here's our here, this brings us in. Sticks. It's always about the sticks. Okay, now we got some sticks. Alright, then we're going to put up our light sources to make this look cool before we head inside, right? There we go. How's that? Look at that. Doesn't that look like legit, aside from the fact that that other one's too far away? Yeah. Anyway, so there's been a lot of me learning over time, right? And whoa, yeah, I kind of like that. Anyway, this has been a whole playthrough of me learning over time. This area you may recognize for those who have been here from the start. This is where I had my house. I was going to be a smith, right? And this is going to be my smithy looking over the kingdom. We're still going to have that, but I've changed what this is going to be. Now, I apologize. I keep pressing the wrong keys. Alrighty. This is still going to be our lookout. And yeah, we're still going to have... This is a great lookout, right? Like you can see most of the main village, the farming village, and the Artisan's village. Yeah, they can see most of that from here. You'll notice there's a resource storage. That's intentional. That's just here so I can easily access logs for a while, because it's just too much having to run all the way back and forth. And I've chosen, like a crazy person would, that I'm not going to turn on the settings to allow me to go quicker, right? I'm not going to allow myself to have on... I'm not going to turn on infinite carrying capacity. I don't know why. It's just a thing. I've started the game without it. I'm going to keep playing without it. It's just what it is. So anyway, this is going to become the barracks. There's going to be multiple houses in this area, and they're all going to be the guard houses. And this is going to be the training fields and the region for the guards. And this is going to be the outer walls, because you would have an inner and an outer wall, at least in this particular setup. And obviously, a gate. Alrighty, so let's wrap ourselves around here. So, in the continuation of this tour, I'll take you through our areas that are more or less done, but obviously it's all still a work in progress. And as I go, I'll show you these things in chunks, right? Like piece by piece by piece. And I want to turn this into kind of like just a chill with Keen type thing, where it's like, hey, let's just do like a we're all here together just listening to this video, and let's just have a space that we can all relax together and chill. Because sometimes things are busy. I know my time of year is busy now for me at work. I don't know where things are at with you. I hope everything's all right. And this can be a good space just to be like, hey, we'll just do some stuff here and take a break from where we're at. And let's see here. Ooh, look at that. Getting a lot of buildings. I do want to add a lot more, and it's going to be a performance issue. Anyway, for those who are curious, because I know people are curious of how things are going with the leveling, I am not going to be hardcore about getting their stats up to max because I've already messed up. I've already let them have kids. It's too late. So it's just what it is at this point. I'm going to make this into a pretty village, and then we're going to retire it. So look at that. A lot of mothers. There's a lot of mothers. And our miners. Oh, it's so much more skill needed. Look at all that. So we do have, oh yeah, innkeeper. I got to show. I know some people have been, I know at least one person's been curious about the whole, you don't have a tavern yet? How do you not have a tavern? I have two. Let's go. Alright, this is the login camp. I need to finish fleshing this out yet, because I want this to look like a login camp that heads into this region, built into the village, and where we expanded from. This is going to turn into a saw pit right there, and this is going to be the person who works on planks. And I think I need to redo this area, but we'll see about that. As we come in here, that's the old resource storage. You probably remember that. Hops. There's hops everywhere. Yeah, we brew beer. We brew beer here. Don and his wife live here. And then this is the blacksmith, right? Like this is going to be the... This is meant to be the smithy who works on the items that are fundamental to our industry, right? Like wagons, horseshoes, etc. So this is the blacksmith's region. And of course resource storage, because this is big time incoming. Alrighty. This is our herbalist, and I'm getting closer to feeling like this makes sense, but I do need to... You stuck, man? Oh, you poor guy. Then I'm getting closer to fixing this part up, because I want to make it feel a little more natural and a little more expanded. That thing's not as close as I want it to be. They got trees, got nice iron gates. There's the hops. And then, of course, the barn. And we have extensive orchards here. And... this is an unfinished part of the village, as you can tell, because none of the neighborhoods have anything really fleshed out in it. And this was that nice little square that I was working on before. I want to flesh this out more. I want a circle, and then I want to have something in the center as a feature. That's kind of the goal here. But then I've got seating here, and I'll have to add trellises and things like that. And then there's our walking platform. And then we go into here. This is going to be our basket maker. We'll have a number of different artisans. I'm going to have this one be a basket weaver. I have no idea what these people are going to be yet. Just working on stuff. This is going to be a person who has a local vegetable garden. And this is our market, our main central market of the fish camp region. And then we get down to here, and you can tell that the road continues, but obviously doesn't go anywhere yet. Now this is going to turn into a part that loops around back to there. This village will continue from all the way down to there and loop into here, and I want to make my jousting arena out here, and you'll see that shortly in my playthrough as I show you my old save. And this, of course, is the food storage. And oh yeah, right, because you can't have a place without a tavern in a village in medieval Dynasty. So here's our tavern. It's getting closer. I've made it so that we have a good collection of places to be. You can tell that I'm beginning to work on things here, and I'm just not there yet, but I'm definitely getting this process done. This is going to be the fish, what do they call it, fish mongrel, the person who, this is basically the fish selling area. I wanted this to look like it was a shop that you come into and buy from, right? Like that, I feel like looks like it, and I'll put some items over here that look like that as well. This is kind of a fun little area. I hope you enjoy. This is our privy. Look at that. Our hidden privies. And we got some buckets for emptying and then washing stations. Always wash your hands when you're done in the privy, yo. Come on. What are we? Heathen? Or what are we? Monsters here? Barbarians? No. We're bandits. There we go. We're not bandits. There we go. And then we're finishing up around here. This is another area not quite fleshed out yet. So obviously needs a little time there. Needs a little love there. This house down here is probably going to get moved. I needed a place for that person, and I just kind of put him there. And this will be a neighborhood, again, same story as last time. And I'm trying to make this feel more like I'm trying to make these things look like small manors that have, or not manors, but small burgages, if you've ever played Manor Lords, where people have jobs attached to their homes, because that's what they did. So these are people who have, like in this example, this person runs the sty. This person runs a combination of a large pasture that encompasses our goats and our cows. And then we have our extensive fields with the windmill holding vigil or sentinel over the top of it, our poppy fields. And then, of course, this is the artisan's market, the cobbler that you saw in a previous playthrough. So this person's meant to make the shoes and the boots. I still have to flesh this out more. This is the main eatery of the artisan's quarters. This is a door that's hard to open. Oh, that's right, because Don's in there. Ah, Don. Don's using the privy, man. I'm sorry. Don, get out of there. Come on, Donkey. You've been in there all day, man. That Donnie. He got a serious blight around him. Maybe he just wants a shower. Alright, then. This is our kitchen and food store. Alright, let's get in here. This is actually the showers. So what I did here is I added bathing equipment, and this is where you'd put the hot stones, which I still have to flesh out and put some decorations into. And lights, of course. And then the privy, because you can't have a tavern without a privy. Oh yeah, tavern. This pathway I love. Oh, I got so rudely interrupted by the seasonal divide. This is an area I'm rather proud of. I like this walkway, which is just planks and sticks, and I have to finish fleshing out how I want that to look. But then here's our tavern. This is our other tavern, and obviously there's the other wall that comes down over here. And this house is going to be the person who runs the brewery, and I gotta figure out how to make that look legit. Alright, with that, we're on the other side of things here. This is the artisan's quarters again. Now, we didn't walk through this way last time. You can tell I still have things to flesh out, and obviously neighborhoods to complete. I have only one particular burgage thought through, which is the clay worker. So, oops, I have the wrong thing out. So in here, oh, you know what? I could just not have a tool out. So the idea on this one is that we have a crafting station. This is meant to be focused just on clay. And then we have a walkway, which obviously that's just me dropping planks, so you can't really walk on it. But then this is the clay furnace. Now, I can't get rid of the cauldron, but I really wanted this clay oven to kind of feel like it's a, you know, an actual oven for, or a kiln for curing clay. And in here, I'm going to put my clay, my masses of clay. And I need to figure out how I'm going to probably rig up a pathway that goes this way, right? So that then they can unload from here and then bring it up into here. And I'll make like a pathway that looks dirty, right? Because it would be, right? And then, of course, finishing things up here. This is the view from the other side, of course, looking down across the fields. The other side of the village is not really finished, so I can't go backwards down this road. The western way is not ready. But here's all of our places. We now have our coop, our local egg, our supplier of eggs, our horse that lives halfway through a wall. This is the incoming trader's station. So in other words, a trader or a wandering trader would come through here and have something that we want to trade. And this is the station that we would use to store goods. And this is the large home that they would stay in with their crew as they're traveling from place to place. And so that can look like or feel like a traveling circus or a traveling trader could come through, things like that. This is the far reaches of the village, and there's the hunting lodge, because obviously there's a great hunting area there. And as we walk back in, this is the view coming into the village from this side, from the east side. I'm trying to make this feel like it's divided like a town, so that as we feel like this grows over time, like if you envision this thing in the medieval era and then going forward, I envision this becoming a lot more crowded and becoming a city, and these buildings growing in size. And this is meant just to be a garden, and this is weirdly placed, honestly. I think it was supposed to go over here. So, yeah, that's got to be changed. Obviously, it's still work in progress. Y'all, the next thing that you're going to see is a tour of my other village. And I hope you enjoy it. This is, keep in mind, this is from way back when. This is from my first playthrough after the official release, right? And this is before a number of things were placed into the game. And they've done so much work on this game over time. It is amazing to think that it has had, I think I saw it was its 4th year anniversary, which just blows my mind that that's how long it's been around. And something that stands out to me, and like hats off to the crew who runs this, the devs, and everybody who supports the work that goes into this game, is that they've always worked on it the whole time. And it feels like it's continuously grown, and that there's always been more you can do, which has always brought me back to it. I'm looking forward to the same thing with Sengoku, obviously. And I thank you for walking around with me on this tour. And enjoy my old village, which is now, at the recording of this, it's been officially deleted. It's time to move forward and start new playthroughs. I think at the end of August, or at the end of autumn, it'll be fun to start a new playthrough with all the updates. And I can't wait to have arms and armor here in this particular area. And here we are. Now, something to keep in mind is this is from back when, this is before we had workstations in the update. So when you see this village, I do want to point out the fact that you're going to notice that it's kind of empty in a lot of ways. Number one, I was new to the game and, well, I'd played it for a while. I'm not totally new to it, but I hadn't really gotten a lot of practice in decorating. I'm just learning from people. So, oops, kind of don't want that out for this part. Alright, here's the forum, or the stage, sorry. I was working on this one, I was going to put a backdrop on it, and I was trying to figure out how I can make a frame around it, or put some seating on it, but that was part of the project. Down there is the first village, by the way, so if we're thinking about the map of where we are, here we are. Now, the one thing you are going to notice about this village is it sprawls quite a bit. I was very into surrounding it in walls. I wanted it to be feel like a defended village, and I was hoping to make it have a castle feel, where I could have my house be actually a more castle-like region, but it's hard to kind of make that portion of it. This is going to turn into a park at one point, and I was upgrading all the houses to turn into regular large-scale houses because I decided that they were the coolest. Why not? This was the hunting region, then turned into farming region, and just made some side fields. Originally, this is where I did all of the farming. This is where the villagers started out, and it was all farmlands completely. You can tell it is not finished. I would have wanted to finish my framing into this area, do different fence work. This is farming area, bees near the fields, because, you know, it makes sense you would have bees near the field. And this part, I could never get a door to fit here properly. And I don't know why, but I could never get a gate to fit on this one properly. Alrighty then, we'll go over here, hops in the background. There was going to be a tavern right there. Never got to finishing that tavern. Ended up making different choices and playing a different game at the time. This is my home, and this was the one that I was using as my demo for how to do some of the decorating. Like I made this little, kind of like, little spot to experiment with decorations and things like that, and I wanted to make this look like a garden, because it's a hobby of mine. Got my hat hanging up on the fence there. And I had been watching, I can't remember who it was at the time, but I remember somebody was showing an idea on how you can use stones and boards to frame in the trees, and that's my first attempt at that. It's fun to look back at this, honestly. When I look at this, I see a lot of what I was working on at the time, and a lot of growth, really. I mean, this was me trying to make a sprawling village that had it all, right? Like, I wanted to have a little isolated area that could contain everything. So for that to be possible, I needed to cordon off this area. Again, another spot where it just didn't work. And I always wanted to do a little more with this one, since we had that nice river over here. I always wanted to try to find something clever to do with that, because, you know, fresh water source. The other part of the village has no direct fresh water source. Now, obviously, you have seen other content creators who make way better stuff than this, and this is just what I did. Like, Pampa Pampa has a really beautiful valley playthrough. It's just simply amazing. But I'm proud of some of the work here. Like, I made that little spit there. That was fun. I just kind of threw that together. And then my woodworking piles, like, this is literally wood dropped one by one, and sticks dropped one by one, with a iron axe and a stool as my splitter before they had workstations. It was my way of doing that. And of course, you know, you gotta have somewhere to shower and go to the bathroom, right? That was privy before privies. And then I needed a mining station, right? I mean, you can't have a functional industry without a mine. So I tried to make some areas that were decorated for the purpose of mining, and this is where I spent the majority of my time, was in this area, just constantly mining. And I tried, oh my goodness, trying to fit this thing in here. That was a fun challenge, just trying to get that resource storage to fit so I could have a true mining station. Alright, then we come up to the sacred tree, of course, down here. And I didn't decorate around this area. I figured that this was going to be something sacred to people, and I left it as it was. And the story behind that one is it's a memorial to a person who passed away during the design of the game. There's more to the story. That's a good simplification of it. But it's a beautiful story. And the thing is, it's a beautiful tree during the seasons. Especially spring, of course. Then we head back, and there used to be bear here, which was fun. Now, if you've seen my Oxbow playthrough, where I was trying to make the Kingdom of Keen, you know that I'm a huge fan of overlooks. And so this is actually a piece of an overlook. This is a standing torch that's meant to be lit in the event that there's a threat coming, and that the people who are sighting it would let everyone here know that there's a threat coming. So I kept these here as kind of like those distance sigils. Now, that's a good view of the village, right? Like, that's a decent setup. There's more to go through over there, but we'll get there. And I, of course, like I said, I was into walls. I wanted walls surrounded it all. We needed protection. Not that a wall would stop anything. Not that a wall would stop everything, but, you know, I like the idea of having walls to defend from any incoming soldiers. So, continue down here. This is going to feel just pretty standard. Just kitchen, food storage, resource storage. You can tell this is where the village began. Then this particular tavern, again, a lot of unfinished work in this area. This part I kind of like. I spent some time on this part for fun. This is the public baths. So we have our heating area, our water buckets, which obviously metal would have been better, wash tubs, and there's lights up here to light inside of here. So that's pretty slick. Then we got the firewood area, and then the well that you would draw from. And then obviously more homes, and I was trying to get some plum trees going in and plum trees around the area. From here, the double gates worked well here, but in other spots, I tell you what, not so well. So we go into this area and we have our smithy, and then we have resource storage. This would be the incoming area, another unfinished area where I want way more tables and things. This resource storage is really just the incoming one. I wanted to start getting my markets to be attached to the actual businesses. So this was the sewing hut, and this was going to be the clothing stand. There was going to be another one down here. I originally had like a training area down here. Ooh, look at that. Goes from palisades to wood logs. That I didn't fix yet. Anyway, there was going to be like a testing area, a staging area for soldier training, or just for contests of strength. I was imagining that as a part of the village next to a weaponsmith. Now we head back this way. Let's see here. I suppose logically we should go this way. Oh, crash, man, crash. We're out. It's over. Alright, going down this way. Again, another one of those doors. Just didn't quite match. Now, when we came in, I went around to the right. This is the other area. Another one of those merchant areas. A lot of the commerce was focused on the start of the village and the entrance. This was meant to be the woodworker, and there's all the things they made. The woodworker and the clay worker, right? So, and then, of course, the herbalist. Not too far away, because there was a good area to grow and a good open space. And then this away is the unfinished, you're gonna hear that a lot. This is the hunter's area. Now this is the hunter and archery center. So the idea here is that this was going to be hunters, a fletcher, and the tanning area for hides. Now I decided to make a tanning region up here. Again, we didn't have workstations at the time, so I started making buckets up here and set a table, and I figured I could drop some furs up here and some leather to make it look like this was actually a tanning area. Now this is the first of what was going to be many watchtowers. I was going to do the whole trick where you get spears and you toss them in and make a makeshift wall, and I think it looks really cool. And you can see a hint of the end of the valley, which is our breadbasket area and our sheep region. Leaving that region, we'll head back up. And I'll do a brief night tour too, since, you know, the lights do look rather nice at night. And I thank you for just joining me on this little tour and just seeing what I had made a long time ago. And what's going to happen next is I am, as I said before, retiring that Oxbow playthrough just because I don't really think it's that interesting at that point for too many people, and I know for me, I have already done a lot of I've made some mistakes early on, and I've also noticed that I feel like I'm doing all the same thing over and over again, and I can't imagine that people are excited to watch me do a whole lot of the same thing over and over again. So when, oh, look at that, need to repair stuff. You can tell it's been a pinch of time. And then the kitchen and the tavern, of course, because you can't just have food, and you can't just have booze and no food in this village. No, no, no. Here we are. Now we're going to go into the animal husbandry and agricultural region of the city. This is the district, obviously, unfinished home. I wanted to have a region for the pigs, the piggies, because we do need piggies. And in this area, this is an unfinished wall. You can tell I need the palisades here. I needed to edit this, and I had some parts I didn't quite like, so I edited some of those fits. And again, I decided that I wanted all houses. I don't know what I was thinking. It was just, they were cool. And I was like, oh, houses, that's new. Let's build all of them houses, mostly. The hop region, because you can't have beer without hops, obviously. And wine. We need cherries. And, you know, I happen to love cherries. My ma grew up in an area where they harvest cherries, and that's always been special to us. And then this is the cattle region. Oh, they're all sleepy, and their home is broken. How about that? And up there is, I was going to build my home into the top of this, into the peak, and kind of have like a special space where it's this is my zone. Oh, look at that. Oh, children outside the gate. Not the best thing. Then, of course, I was getting into this idea about homes having stations for working, which, honestly, Manor Lords, which, if you haven't seen the game before, I think is a lot of fun, and a neat early access game, and impressive. It's got one developer working on it, Gary, I believe is his name, and it's really cool what he's doing with it. It's a lot of fun, and it put some thoughts in my mind in a recent playthrough, obviously not for this, because this is a long time back. But it's gotten some thoughts into my mind recently about how I design my burgages, if you will. Alright, this is the sheep region. Lots and lots of space, obviously. I needed to finish this one up as well, since it's not completed yet. What's up, dude? Look at that. That's one of my oldest kids here is... Where are we at? Here. I'll show you how bad this is. Look at that. I have only, what, a 10 and a 10? And I've only got a couple 10s. Look at that. This is a level 10 hunter, right? I complained so much about hunting being a challenging thing to level up, and boom, here we are. We have one in this village who's at 10. But you can see by the skill spread here, I did not really consider my leveling up of my characters. I just let it go. And there's my guy, Theobald, at age 11. So, another one of those little fire station areas, and a nice view of the area. This is the unfinished orchard. This was going to be a massive set of orchards. Apples, you name it. Obviously, this is a very large unfinished wall for the fields, but the amount of stone that you need for this and the amount of time I had to work on it is just kind of like, there's no way I'm going to finish that up. And then the Oxbow came out, and this is before I even had a channel. So this is my playthrough before I tried making content or anything like that. Obviously, a lot of workers I'm not maintaining. The goose hut. There's no walkways here, but this is me experimenting with what I thought a good burgage would look, or not burgage, because again, Manor Lords wasn't out at the time, but I'm kind of linking to that. I imagined a yard, and I imagined the idea of like people having space for what they do. And then here is where I had to just move a resource storage. I didn't like where it was, and I had to keep moving the darn thing. This is our lower village's tavern and kitchen. I loved the trees here. I loved how it still felt a little shaded in. I thought that was a vital thing. This is the other neighborhood region, since there's this is the breadbasket area. There's going to need to be a lot of things here. Uh-oh, character's going to die of freezing. Then this was going to become the open air fish market. I had a couple fishing stands, and I wanted to make this feel like an open air fish market. This area is the one that I was the most excited about finishing, but I kept having so many little things that I needed to do. So what you're seeing here is a bunch of logs and a bunch of walls. And the point of this...
Put on something warmer.
Yeah, you should have put on something warmer, my guy. Alrighty, well, I thought I had more wine on me. I don't. There's our stallion. This is a jousting pitch. So this was going to have a stable on one side and a building on the other, and then this is a jousting pitch. And so this part of the village, I imagined a part of the people would travel around to come see jousting events. It's a small scale pitch. I mean, this isn't huge, but that was the idea. And I wanted to build walls around or have seating about this area, and then finish up the stables here, obviously, too. Over here is the horse and donkey area. This is all about our fine foals and aging up horses and mules. And then this was going to be a horse archery training area. Obviously you can't do horse archery in this game, but that was something I was envisioning having here as targets all around the area, because that was a cool decoration at the time. And then the fields, obviously. With that, I think it's time to say goodbye to the valley. This has been a playthrough, and it's been a fun playthrough, and I've learned a lot, and I've enjoyed this one. This was me just doing a fun village here, and I thank you for giving me the time to share this with you, and I'd love for you to share with me your fondest memory of a long playthrough that you've had, or just a fun playthrough that you did that maybe it came to its end, and you're saying, you know what, this is a good time for this one to close out. And I think for this one, this is the right time for this one to close out.
Move on.
And it's time for me to restart in the valley, and I'll do a guide for it. I want to restart, and I want to rethink what I did, and I want to do a best start for the valley, because it's going to be a challenge. I think that is going to be, honestly, a great challenge, because you can't just go and find 500 coins on top of a roof in the valley. You have to actually do the hard work from the start. And you also have the King's Quests, so that part's going to be fun to do and fun to show, since they haven't implemented that part yet. I had previously built a village around this lake, which I think is nice, and I am taking you on a journey for a reason. We are definitely going somewhere, y'all. But I'm gonna close this one out and use it just as a... I think I'm gonna use this area up here as something else in the future, and I still have to do a little brainstorming on that video, and just that kind of like take time to take space for yourself type video type thing, and I'm thinking about how to do that. Alright, here we go. The last place to look is going to be up on the hills into our mountainous territory, and we'll try not to freeze our character to death in the process. So on top of this hill, this is where I started designing the outpost, and this is quite literally an outpost in the sense that only a small collection of people would live here, and their goal would be to be self-sustaining, self-sufficient, and keep a vigil out over the main parts of the valley where, in my head, I decided that this is the region that you would be able to spot any threats on the way. And obviously there is a standing torch, which shouldn't be lit, but obviously they turn on automatically, I believe. So this is a great outlook over this particular part of the valley, so if an army was coming, you could see it, because they tend to be fairly visible from a distance. And they tend to bring with them an awful lot of noise, racket, and also minor devastation. So here is the sitting area and the working area of the small outpost. It could be a family, it could be just a small collection of scouts, but this is the sitting area for them. And it was built up with the intent that they would be out the lookouts for the area. And then obviously this direction is a little tougher, but we're also surrounded by mountains in the side, and that would be a little harder to navigate, and ideally you would hear about that from word of mouth before you'd see it, whereas from the other direction it's fairly easy to travel down those roads or those rivers. Well, y'all, I thank you for joining me in this last little video here and being able to say goodbye to this little thing. And if you made it all the way to this part of the video, I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. And I'll do, after this, if you want to stick around, I'm just going to do a quiet nighttime tour of the area since it is now night. Take care until next video, and I'll see you in the Valley playthrough, which will come out real quickly after this one. With that, take care, y'all. I hope to see you in the next episode.